Welcome to Money Talk Viewpoint. I am your host, Dennis Williams with CashMap Consulting. Thanks for joining us. And today we have with us Charles Dents with Xelantt Profit Strategies. He is all about enabling.
Well, number one is that we need to put in place, and this is probably a term that most have probably heard, but we need to look at their scheduling freedom. So scheduling freedom means that they're focused on the things that they need to be focused on, prioritizing the things they need to prioritize. And if you heard the 80-20 rule, 20% of what these startups do, or even established businesses as an owner, 20% of what they do is what makes them money. The other 80% doesn't necessarily make them money. And so we make sure that we help the startup owner or just any business owner understand what the 20% is so that they can effectively manage their time. And we call that scheduling freedom.
So do you have them do time studies or do you?
No time studies. We look at what they're doing right now today, and we make adjustments accordingly, help them understand what they should be working on, focused on, and the things that they shouldn't, the things that maybe they simply just need to delegate or put off to another time. But in order to create freedom in their schedule, they have to understand what the real priorities are in order to grow and to scale.
Okay. So when you talk about AI is one of the key components moving forward, and I guess I would also ask, when you do this with the owner, how long does it take for them to adjust their schedule usually in order to enable the next step? Does that take a month? Does that take usually does it take a week, or what does that mean?
Well, it does look different for each person. And one of the things that when we engage with someone, we're looking for 100% commitment. And those that are really, truly 100% committed, those are ones we want to work with. But it requires them to make adjustments in their schedule immediately. And so, but immediately looks different for each person, right? So it may be a week, it may be 4 weeks, but anything beyond 4 weeks is too long. And we like to stay within a week to 2 weeks. At the end of the day, they are committing to making massive change. And massive change starts with the owner. And unless the owner is willing to make that sacrifice, then the rest of the company potentially suffers from the same type of stagnation or inability to move forward because they're not willing to commit. So the owner willing to commit, willing to make the sacrifices, willing to adjust their schedule in order to make the changes for business growth is highly important. But it could be a week to 4 weeks. And we like to stick within the week to 2 week time frame.
Okay.
It's massive change. It's a massive decision.
So now that's been done, and now the next step that you're moving to, and you talked about using AI with expert guidance. What does that look like?
Well, what we do is, so number one, we will absolutely leverage what, just using the buzzword, we'll leverage a tool like ChatGPT to use expert type of prompts that people don't normally use. These are very detailed, deep prompts that become very unique in order to get the results we're looking for. And then on top of that, then we will explore additional AI tools. There are so many AI tools. I have a list of probably over 700 AI tools that accomplish different things for a business. But the reality is that there are only just a few that a company will need to focus on in order to transform their business. Now, you say, why AI? The question is, why not? companies that don't innovate at this stage in 2024 will be left behind. I can think about companies like Kodak, who basically missed the digital revolution, right? I can think about Blockbuster. And so these are older companies at this point, but they're such a great case study. Kodak, Blockbuster, they didn't transform where Netflix did. Netflix went digital, and Blockbusters, they tried to continue with their same tried approach that just lost ground. So innovation today requires the use of AI.
Okay, and that part of the engagement, is that more of a focus on teaching the owner and a couple of key staff how to use it on a routine basis going forward? Is that your primary objective?
Well, when we first start, and when I say that our strategies are AI infused, they're infused because we have taken uh, components of AI to help accelerate the learning process, so their knowledge increases. And I call it three pillars. So number one, knowledge increases. And then we will look at if there are additional AI tools for implementation. So again, to accelerate the implementation. And then number three is the execution, sustainable execution of what's been implemented. And there are additional AI tools for that. So it depends on the type of platforms that we need to focus on, whether it's CRM platforms, whether it's ERP platforms, or whatever platforms, technology platforms that are needed in order to accelerate the business, transform the business. It could be social media. It could be dealing with social media. And so there are tools that help accelerate. The whole purpose of AI is not for the business owner to learn AI. It's for the business owner to use AI to get results faster, quicker, more effectively, and more efficiently than what they could without using AI tools.
Yeah, but so that being said, you're also helping them understand who's the best person in the organization to stay on top of that, because I'm imagining that's not
Yes,
going to be the business owner.
it's not going to be the business, or it should not be the business owner.
Okay.
If it's the business owner, then the model is not the correct model, because now it's a hub and spoke type of model, and the business owner is the hub, and that was a detriment to scaling in almost every case. But so delegation becomes a key, and we help them understand, who are the right resources to delegate to, and they know the answers to that question already. We just help steer them in the right direction to make sure that it's done effectively.
So that kind of bleeds you into the next one that you talk about as far as efficient organizations, right? So what I'm hearing you saying is that you're adding these elements to boost revenue, and now you're taking them to your next step and creating efficient processes or new efficient processes to make it sustainable. Is that right?
It's both. So it's both making current processes, or particularly from an operational standpoint, making the current processes more efficient. But it also could be some new processes that they're not doing, or just augmenting what they're already doing. So it could be a combination of all of those. In most cases, their operational processes are in place, their procedures are in place. Sometimes they're simply just not documented. So if they're not documented, then ultimately they're probably not consistent, so they're not efficient. And we want to make sure they're documented. In other cases, they're just not robust enough. And so that's when we need to augment and make them more robust. And then finally, in those cases where they don't have the right processes in place to grow, we help them discover those and then implement them and execute.
So I think you need to expand a little bit more on it's not robust enough. How do you identify whether or not something's robust?
Well, some of that comes with doing research, right? So, for example, let's take marketing, for example.